The Fulfillment of Life by Pooja Patel. As people look at their future, they base their goals on their dreams for them to achieve. Neela Norsen's poem, 99 Things to Do Before You Die, depicts the Native American culture while listing future goals and ambitions to accomplish before death. The Indian lifestyle and background is shown with a description of nature that is presented throughout the poem. The speaker modifies a list from a magazine which includes expensive activities that a poor Indian cannot afford to do. This alternation creates a playful mood that sparks the reader's attention. The poem creates an overall theme of fulfillment that further sends a positive message to the audience. This theme is presented with numerous amount of repetition and binary opposition that is displayed in the text. The poem entices readers and persuades them by using the personal address you. You don't have to be rich before you die. The Native American speaker shows that fulfillment can be achieved without money, and people should live life without regret. As the speaker thinks of goals and dreams for her life, the reader is drawn to the message of the simplicity of fulfillment. Native American culture is allied with nature, and although the speaker is seemingly familiar with these natural images, they might be less familiar to the readers. Owl dancing with a Yakima, making love in a teepee, and bathing, not swimming in a lake or river. The imagery, however, also produces a common theme of fulfillment, as the speaker forms ideas that are relatable to the Indian and American culture. She makes the readers see that people should set more attainable goals, because most of us will never experience diving off a yak in the Aegean. The speaker creates a list that is more culturally relevant, which presents ideas like eating tangani with Sioux, watching a Miwok deer dance, and telling skinwalker stories by the campfire. The poem includes words and activities unique to the Native American. The speaker seems to be negotiating her dual culture when she lists falling in love with a white person as well as falling in love with an Indian. The contrast of American race and Indian race is presented in the poem. This cultural contrast creates a binary opposition that the speaker interestingly wants to combine in her list of things to do before her death. There is a repetition of the word Indian throughout the poem, which humorously is not politically correct. The use of the word describes a marginalized background and a lifestyle of the speaker and author. She wants to include traditional goals like chopping wood for Grandpa and giving Grandma a rose and a bundle of sweet grass. This shows the more ancient background of the Native American, which is not seen today. As the speaker continues the list, the audience can see that she wishes to embrace her Indian culture while being open to hybridity. The speaker's decision to accept her Indian culture shows a fulfillment of life because it does not require money. People would regret not being able to accomplish the goal of living within their culture that they were born in. This can show that living life to the fullest can impact lifelong decisions. Furthermore, the speaker in the poem comes from a poor Indian background and realizes that being rich is not a necessity for a life worth living. This is shown with the two contrasting lists that are displayed throughout the poem. The rich list includes activities like diving off a yak in the Aegean Sea, buying a round-the-world air ticket, and going to distant places around the world. The speaker seems to be much more realistic, even to non-Native Americans, and continues the theme of fulfillment as attainable. The speakers list everyday activities that anyone can do. For example, falling in love, learning to make food, learning a language, and recycling. The speaker seems to be a humanitarian because of her wish to donate, sponsor, and recycle. These tasks seem to be common things that most people do in their lives, but usually are not mentioned on a bucket list. Money is not a requirement in order to give back to the world. It is attainable even for a poor Indian. This makes the readers wonder if the Cosmo list includes any self-oriented goals as well. Probably not. However, the speaker concludes the poem by accepting the possibilities of having an affair in Paris while discoing in red leather and sipping champagne in the future. So, although the speaker pushes the point that money is not important to happiness, she's still open to the possibility that money can provide. Fulfillment is also described through the process of creating goals and achieving them before death. Although life and death are binary oppositions that is frequently developed throughout the entire poem, the speaker seems to dote on the living. The speaker sends a message that people should enjoy life before approaching death. Examples such as falling in love and saying something nice to your children and spouse are listed as requirements that makes the speaker's life communal. In order to experience fulfillment, one is required to fulfill others. The fulfillment of life can be reached when achieving all the goals that are formed. As the speaker concludes her list, she feels ready for her death because she already completed half of her tasks and there is not much left undone. Death is something that everyone must experience, but people need to feel ready for it to happen before it actually occurs. The peaceful dreams and goals that the speaker sets up as imagery creates a feeling of happiness. The speaker's simple goals seems more lasting and much more satisfying. These goals are much more rewarding than the adventurous and expensive types, which shows that the reader the main points of the simplicity of fulfillment. This poem tells readers that fulfilling attainable goals before death makes for a satisfying life. When people do not achieve their goals, they have a feeling of regret that haunts them forever. Money is not a requirement for life, and materialism and wealth should not rule people's lives and happiness. Simple free acts such as falling in love, sharing moments with family, and participating in service to others is true fulfillment. People begin to appreciate life as they find a reason for living. The accomplishments of these goals provide a reason for people to enjoy moments in the world and be satisfied when death comes. The poem reflects on the idea that money does not create happiness. As Native Americans cherished the small things in the world, people need to see that these small things produce the feeling of happiness every day. Fulfillment is a choice of living, and failing to complete all the desired tasks of life will result in emptiness.